my mama love. You should be ashamed. You should be ashamed. You should be ashamed.
3-day, well, not a 3-day week anymore, but we'll get into that. But welcome back, Making Make Sense Jackson audience. I hope everybody has done something productive since the last time we've been together, which was yesterday. And as we always like to say, and I regret that I forgot this yesterday, we pray that as many of your loved ones that left out came back to you today. We'd like to take a brief moment of silence to start the show for those that did not. And then just immediately get into what is a very busy, been a very busy day. And we've got a city council meeting tonight at 6:30. But what's been a very busy day here in Jackson. How are you doing, young man? How's your evening and your morning been?
So far, so good. Always optimistic, though. As we continue to, you know what I'm saying, fight for the city, we got to remind ourselves that at some point, we got to pass the torch. We're not always going to be here. You got to put in that generation. And like I said before, it's going to be tough on us when we still got to look at John Horn in 10 to 20 years from now, or a little John Horn that's doing the same thing he doing. See what I'm saying?
No, I'm sorry. The aftermath.
You know what I'm saying? So, aftermath.
Absolutely. I mean, but I think one of the pluses for us is, and guys, excuse me, again, if you're looking on our Facebook page online, you'll see that I'm in a losing 12-round battle with these allergies and this new pollen that has bust out of nowhere, and I didn't take my Claritin today. So, you know, my wife told me that, you know, it was a necessity. I said, I'm fine. And you all can hear in the nasals that I lost that battle. So those of you know her, tell her I should have listened. But to your point, young man, I think that the key is we're preserving a different crime scene. And this is a crime scene in Mississippi. We're preserving the crime scene. And I think that's kudos to you as a community and to what our goal is to preserve this crime scene, not for the goal of Hollywood or selling a story, but for the goal of hoping that we can change routes, right? Through this rain and this storm that we're feeling, especially in Jackson, but throughout Mississippi, believe me, through this storms that we're feeling, that hopefully we start to understand, we start to turn into buffaloes. And that's what we need to be as a people, ultimately. That's our goal, what we're shooting for, because buffaloes are the only animal known that run towards a storm with the hopes of saying, if it's going to come anyways, I might as well try to run through it rather than run away from it and get cut down. See, this fear-based voting that folks have us on, this fear-based leadership, which really turns into handling, not leadership, it's what has us running away from these storms. And when you run away, you can't see what's happening. So we think that our leaders are back there fighting while we're running. And in fact, they're back there holding the door open for the storm to hit us even harder. And it's in our better interest for us to run towards that storm. And that's what we've been doing here at Make It Make Sense since June, April of last year. We've been pushing, running to what, and you've been gathering that storm with us. So I do think you're right that 2020 vision is going to be wild, KP. But I don't think that folks are going to be able to hide from behind it. They're not going to be able to narrative shift. Like folks, the few folks, and young man's going to read the number off. If you, especially, and we want you to call anyways, but especially if you attended the Ward 5 meeting. We got a lot of response about the Ward 3 meetings and things that were happening. We want the same level, hopefully, with the Ward 5 meeting that took place. But from the little bit we heard before you read the number, that's what we were talking about. It seemed to be a narrative shift there when some of the same folks that were involved with getting your city to the way it is now wanted to pretend that they were Black civil rights leaders and that they were looking to fight the white supremacy that caused everything that's happening. When just the day before, right, just speaking that way, they were standing against the same progress they're crying for. The same people and entities that were calling for a lawsuit against Chief Wingate, this entire city council was mum on for the most part. Maybe one or two were involved, but for the most part, they were all mum on. This mayor, who at that time was a senator, was mum on when the People's Advocacy Institute, ACLU, Mississippi Rapid Response Coalition, when that caller called in and said, it seems like the Horn administration is just taking the Lumumba administration's points about the water and what they want and just reusing it. Well, the point someone else made was, well, they were using it, but not fighting for the water. So what point does it make? What point does it make if you're using the same language that the previous mayors that actually fought to keep our water used
To handle you.
to handle? Here you go.
To handle you.
Yeah. I got into the story before you announced it, KP. But yeah, that I mean, yeah, I think that the one thing I want you to feel comfortable with, young man, is that you are a crime scene preserver. And you'd rather be, which is what we, you know how many times we go to look at some of our feel-good stories, right? And try to look for things that, and we're sidestepped by the fact that the people have to understand how rapidly something is moving. And we have to show them something that's negatively happening to us, but it's necessary. Because to not do that would be to lead folks into the same storm we're complaining about. But I think you should feel good about what we're doing, and what many people in our community are doing. We're preserving this so folks can't turn around tomorrow and say they were on the side of good.
You say preserve as in what?
Like preserve the crime. You know how when there's a crime scene, they say nobody walk on it. Yeah. Nobody walk on it. Don't step on anything. We gotta find shell casings. We gotta find out if the perpetrator drops a cigarette butt, we can get the DNA off the cigarette. Mm-hmm. We gotta see if they dropped their phone or the shoe print. We can pick it up. See, here in Jackson, Mississippi, if there's one thing we've done, young man and I and our producer, we bought you a lot of those crime preservation pieces. Mm-hmm. Starting with the Northside Sun sneakily telling their folks to switch over all the way to North Jackson, where they hope most of Black Jackson wouldn't recognize and didn't read their paper anyways. Told their folks to switch over and vote for Horn or Tim Henderson at that point. Then they got tired of Henderson because I guess he wouldn't go along with the plan fully. So then they switched just to Horn. They didn't want you to know that Downtown Jackson partner was behind putting money behind him because they knew that this was going to come back. They didn't want you to know that Gabriel Prado, who worked for the governor, who flew with Lieutenant Governor Holzman, one of his most favorite experiences was flying with Governor Holzman across the world. And who bought Topgolf to Ridgeland while we were fighting to get something like that in Jackson, they didn't tell you that that person was supporting and he was going to get benefits afterwards. Those are all of these steps and many, many more from him to Surinder Singh, who advocated for shooting a black man over a six-pack of beer, to just Republicans that have no beneficial interest in the goodwill of the people of Jackson. A lot of times we had to sidestep to bring people everything that was happening, but these are all crime preservations. They're all crime preservations. When slumlords donate to you politically, Mayor, that's a crime preservation. Those campaign donations don't go anywhere. And it's so ironic that you all love this state, love to talk about the last mayor and campaign donations, and don't want the people trying to seal everything to do with that case because they don't want people to understand how small what you see is, right? But then you have folks that are getting legal campaign donations from folks that are hurting us. And nobody says anything or nobody notices.
I haven't even started the research, but that's what I'm saying. That's
why I have the way Mississippi pay for play laws work. It's easier to steal than to not steal in Mississippi. It's already set up like that. It's already set up
for a certain demographic.
Yeah, and it's obviously in your face with it.
Yeah. Just like the recent case with your boy Ted DiBiase Jr.
Right. It's easier
to steal than to not steal.
Easier to steal than to not steal. Yeah. And DiBiase is a perfect example.
Look at the laws and look at how many people donated to Tate Riggs that got a job making hundreds and hundreds of $1,000s a year.
Yes.
Look at it.
Yeah.
Just Google it. It's ridiculous.
And then you have to look up these things, and you have to.
That's what I was going to say. Me attacking the preserve. I wasn't saying that. I knew what you were saying, but I wanted you to elaborate that we are preserving it, but we can't be the only one preserving it. Is what I was saying.
Yeah.
And other people got to store the information too. I was like, people should be downloading our shows off Facebook. Listening to information.
Absolutely.
And expanding on it. Look for yourself.
And taking it further. Absolutely. Yeah. 100%, yeah, man. I'm sorry. Yes, 100%. Because it's got to be something where it's just we are just vessels in a community where 130,000 vessels exist, right? In a country where 42 million vessels exist. And when we talk about fish all pushing down at the same time, we're not trying to be sharks. We're just trying to be the fish in that pile, doing our part to push down. And as all fish, not about joining us, to your point, right? Expand on it yourself. It's just about us pushing in the same direction of freedom and of clarity at the same time. And what we have to do right now, and I hear these cries on the radio, I listen all day still. I've not changed. I just have more stations to listen to. And I hear folks just with this same insult you on. We've got to force them to change this term. When as soon as you speak about something that under their legislative power they should have improved, they say, well, y'all should have voted. Remember that I'm not telling you we don't need to discuss the vote, but that's akin to you paying for French fries, going to get them, not getting them. And then when you go to the security guard or the shift manager who's supposed to make sure you got them, he or she said, well, when the tariffs came along, you should have voted that fries have to be given to you up front. You talking about every year when the city hall. So you're telling me your job is to make sure my fries come out. That's what you're there for. As a politician, you're there to work for the community that put you in. When we come and say to you, then you tell us you should have voted. And you can't understand, Black Americans specifically on this one, you can't understand how inappropriate that answer is. Has nothing to do with the fact that we need to vote. You can't understand how inappropriate that answer is. That's a snake's answer. And I'll stand on this. And 601, I start giving out numbers when I say, but 601-948-5950. I'll stand on that. That's a snake's move. To respond to Black folk when they say, why have we saw no changes in 40 years? And you've sat in that office for 10 to 40 years. And your response is because not enough Black people vote. But you're there. You need to start with everything that you've done. Back-breaking, stood on business, and then say, and those efforts didn't go through because I didn't have enough support from non-voters. It is 100% unacceptable, snake-like, and totally disingenuous for you to say the reason I'm not making progress as an elected politician is because you don't vote enough. And you're sitting in that office, so that's it.
Imagine your expectations. Don't ask me to do nothing for you.
Don't ask me to do a darn thing for you and just ghost non-vote, which I don't know if you did or didn't vote. So all I know is I get a number there, and then I talk to that number. Whoever falls in that number, that's what happens. If only 60% of you voted, I'm going to talk to the other 40%. Every time you bring up a legitimate problem, hey, guess what one day? If 99% of us vote, they're going to go out there 1%. Well, I heard over there were 10 people that didn't vote. That's why we can't get this done.
If you in office, that's irrelevant.
That should be irrelevant because you're already in that position. We don't understand the hoax, to the young man's point, or Lee. We don't understand the hoax that's being pulled on us. A sitting official, 30 in this state, who knows how many, I'm just saying there's a lot, should not be standing together on the steps of the Capitol with 20 of them talking about the problem is you all don't vote enough. Not saying that's not a problem, but you're there, buddy. You're on the island where the cantaloupes are. We ask you why we don't have any cantaloupes. You talk about something because you don't vote for who goes on the island. Then you're over there. Can we get some cantaloupe?
It leaves down on the hill,
man.
They don't even fight back. They just bent over. I'm tired of it, man. It's frustrating.
I think the City Hall meeting in Jackson, and go to our page. If you got to scroll back, I'll pin it. And that City Hall meeting where Mr. Hannafin said that the city of Jackson, Mississippi has a culture of not wanting to pay their bills. A city that's been beleaguered to the point that the federal government felt the need to intervene with close to $1 billion because they were not being done right. Don't let any of these silly stories people tell you they bought in the money because the city didn't do right. You don't bring in the money because of that. The state moved. They bought in the money because it was clear that the city had not received the support it needed. And the federal government comes in generally when they fear the state is not going to do what they need to do.
Yep.
Let's just keep it 100. What is the fact? Mississippi burning? They made movies about the federal government's intervention.
It's too many cases to name.
Yeah, we're not gonna sit up at school. You had to march. It's National Guard had to march up into the school to integrate the schools. The reason that the federal level comes is because we know that the racist, insipid history of Mississippi is not going to allow progress for these Black folk. And that's the same reason that nearly $1 billion came in from the federal government for our water system. What the Water Authority is a recognition of the state of Mississippi that y'all got some money and we need that. And Lumumba was stopping us from getting to that, so we had to put every effort into getting them out of there. And our friend Mr. Horn stood right along with us. And what they needed from Horn was deflect every time he asked you for help. This is what's becoming clear now. Deflect anytime he asks you for assistance, leave him in the situation he's in, then you get in that situation, third time's the charm. How much money has been put behind John Horn to make it into mayor?
I don't know.
Worth a lot of money to somebody, young brother.
It wasn't enough to sell us out the way he is, though. I know that.
But I'm just talking about the effort. You talking about one group rumored to put $250,000 behind him. Who knows how much actual money went behind? So what I'm saying is,
Campaign donations and stuff.
yeah, the not just the campaign donations. You got 20-something people in the race. You think 20-something people, all those people thought they had a chance of winning? One time we go, hey Jack, we're not going backwards, but this show is called Make It Make Sense. Now you think of I'm not going to sit there and list through every name.
It was a bunch of them.
You think of every name of all those people. If your name was not somewhere like the Chamber of Commerce or a previous mayor, 21 people thought they were going to become mayor? Or somebody got a call from somebody like, man, listen, man, they want us to get Lumumba. I need you to run. What? This is a show. This is a talk show. You have the beautiful blessing of just being able to look at the stuff and say, come on, make it make sense. 20-something people decide to run. The federal government decides to throw charges. You done had Stokes sticking his tongue out for 4 years, making sure nothing goes through. Now all of a sudden it smells like the trash, pile of trash it is. And the good thing is he's not in office. So we can look at it with clear eyes now. Because now you see what the end goal was. Now you're feeling the end goal. Let me say that.
It was a lot of effort put into it. I don't see no effort put into anything since, though.
No, there's no need. We got the bag. We got the one person, the last person, not the one person, because plenty of men stood up. This man is doing something that no mayor has ever done, which is just lay down. It's not about one mayor. It's about getting someone in there that will do the opposite of what other mayors would do.
I don't think none of the previous mayors would have did.
Oh, no, not you. We told
Not this fast.
yesterday.
It wouldn't even been possible to do this fast.
I don't think they would. I don't think they would ever put Jackson on the market like that. Not on the chopping block in this way. Not. I mean, you're looking for people that want to come put their hands on Jackson at this point. You know, you're driving Jackson around at this point. Not that people trying to make eye contact. You like the way Jackson looks? That's the point you're at right now.
Put it on stroll.
Yeah. I mean, the first moment he touches base in August, the man got into office in July for all stakes and purposes after the runoff. In August, he's in a paper talking about I'm looking for some public-private partnership. Who wants to go half on our water system? You've got to take, and that's Google everything that we say. August, Mayor Horn touts private public partnership for city's water system. And that's what this show you'll never do with us. You'll never think we're sitting here spinning wheels.
Did you pinch him?
Or,
Didn't
or playing with you.
Didn't even pinch him.
No. That yeah, so I think I mean I know there's more in that story we're gonna look at, but I think that we've been handled. I think that's I think we have to sit on where we're at, that we're being handled on a regular basis. And when you understand that, I think we can turn this boat a little bit. And especially as it pertains to this water, we've got to start looking at the resistance that's there. And at a certain point, you either move with the resistance or you accept what's coming to you, and that's why it's up to us that see something, say something, when something's going out, it's up to us to make sure that, we got hands on it. But I think the timeline of how we got here, and we're going to move, but the timeline of how we got here is so important for us to understand. It's so important for us to understand because this is Groundhog Day in a wicked way.
Mm-hmm.
They need y'all hit those.
I was just gonna say, I just hope they understand that they plotting on the citizens of Jackson. Between all of these data centers and all the water they're gonna need, and this water authority boards, if y'all don't stand up together now, it's over with. It's over with. And I don't mean stand up to pay these people. I mean stand up to fight these people.
Yeah, it's going to be a
because it's just gonna be an endless extortion of this city until all y'all move out.
What more can you say? It's like you just said a lot of stuff. I mean, it's more to say, but it's like we hitting it directly on the head for y'all to see what we hitting on.
We're calling it months in advance. Yeah. At this point, we calling stuff months in advance, and they still doing it, and y'all still don't see. So
I'm showing you got a gun in my head. What else do more than you want? Like,
and the good thing is, I think people are starting to peak. Right, I think people are starting to peak, and I know y'all. The young man, your urgency is correct. I think people are starting to peak, but your urgency is right. You shouldn't have to be convinced to care about your future. I don't stand in any opposition to what you feel at all. You should not have to be convinced to care about your future. And folks have got to understand that you've been lied to and you've been handled. And that's why we're using this word handled so much, to the young man's point, because if you still think that there's some hope. And sometimes I'll look at people's pages when you see folk from Jackson that will get behind this current administration and say, well, you know what, give them time, or you don't see it that much anymore. But that's a people that don't want to look at what's actually happening and accept the reality in time to possibly do something about it. And that's where we are, folks, to this young man's point. That's where we are right now. We're at the point where we can possibly do something about it, or at least make sure the world understands what's happening here. And I think from our part, we've got people that are calling in talking all the time about what they see. I was at the airport and I pulled up on some big up to my airport listeners. The two brothers out there doing the road, and they had on the jackets. And I said, well, let me not talk too much about it. But I pulled up on them after I was dropping someone off at the airport, and I said, all of this development that's happening, is that happening for Jackson, or is this the land around Jackson that we've been hearing about?
Oh, you see all the new
Yes.
building out.
Yes, I see a lot of new
It's crazy.
rapidly happening around the airport.
Yep.
So we know that whole deal meant that Rankin and other counties, Pearl, had the right to develop in the land around Jackson, right? Jackson doesn't have money to develop like that rapidly that we've heard about, because it would have to be something brought in front of city council, even though I know there are, all I've heard about is city council revitalizing the Metro Center. So if you've only revitalized the Metro Center City Hall, well, who's revitalizing all that land around the airport right now? What's all that building that's going on out there? Because we've been paying attention to the city council minutes, and you've only brought forth requests for money for metro revitalization, even though the state owns 2 parcels of the property. Now, of course, we want to fight to keep it. Nobody's saying you shouldn't do that. So what they say?
John gave that up the first 90 days.
Yeah.
First 90 days. You can't get nothing done in this city in 90 days. But he managed to give it up in 90 days though.
I probably get that soundtrack background cleaning. Yeah, he just give
Why
it.
did the previous one stop them from annexing the airport?
The previous mayors kept them engaged in lawsuits, not coming to a quick agreement.
He didn't been over.
He
just didn't been over.
This man conceded in the middle of a lawsuit.
Yep.
I don't think you understand
I'm
that.
just saying, because he
They
were still litigating the point, and he gave up.
And he conceded. No, listen, guys.
He gave up.
Listen, guys. Hold on a second. I told you that fickle and educated.
I got it.
They'll get into me. Give me a second.
Don't worry about it.
Listen, guys. I know this sounds crazy, but we don't need this. Right? You can't even make this up. You can't even make this up.
And it's the fact that he can convince y'all that there's nothing he can do. That pisses me off the most.
Yeah.
That gets me. Like, how can you really
Giving something away is the best thing you can do.
But
How did he convince people that giving something away for nothing
listen,
is the best thing that you can do?
It only speaks to the barbarity of the white supremacy that has existed in Mississippi since enslavement has begun. And it did not even end. Well, let's just talk about up until the White Citizens Council. You got to understand that there are a lot of our people that were conditioned by parents, aunts, and uncles that lived when the Citizens Council was very effective. Now, you got to understand, your job gone, your mortgage gone, your ability to shop gone, and your peace may be gone.
We're going to make sense, Carl. You don't have.
Yeah, what do y'all think a juice head would do? That's what a juice head do. He with everything.
I ain't familiar with the terminology, but I kind of figured out.
I'm familiar with something.
I don't know that. I ain't saying that. I ain't gonna speak on that. But that's what I heard. That's what I heard. Though.
I agree, Carl.
Yeah, but we appreciate you calling.
I just ain't seen it with my own eyes. I done heard it enough though. But go ahead.
The other caller, I think we lost the other caller. No, I don't have a problem with it. Because listen, is it on one? How do we get to him? And another caller, I didn't mean to drop on you that quick. You give us a call back. Go ahead.
Well, that make sense, Carl. You there?
Hey, man, look, I just want to say I appreciate you guys for doing this today, man. That was a really, really good job.
We appreciate you, brother.
No doubt, man. And y'all were talking about the land out of the airport, things of that nature. And I heard Dennis say that the people allowed it to happen. Well, see, now I gotta punch back with my brother. And it's all out of love. I swear to you. This deal took place in the back room. The people wasn't part of that deal, my man.
Oh, I know that.
When that deal came out, that deal was already done, and that's that point. And now, there's an old man that normally called the show. I think everybody knows old Pastor Jackson. One of his sweet things that he put out there in the atmosphere is don't be putting $100 over on smokehouse.
Mm.
Well, it appears that was $100. John Horn, and he done sold and gave away every single cash producing asset in this city. And the only thing that the people can continue to get is an increase in water rate.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we can punch on Terry Henderson, we can do that. But we also got to remember, Terry Henderson was appointed by a federal judge.
Yeah.
Therefore, technically, that man ain't got to answer nobody's question but Henry G. Wingate. He was appointed. The people didn't elect Henry. He was appointed
Yep.
by a federal judge. he was appointed by the federal judge. Therefore, technically, that man don't owe the people really any explanation about a doggone thing. Now, the people that we elected, the councilmen, the people that we elected, they owe the citizens these answers. That mayor that's been elected, he owes the citizens answers, man.
Absolutely.
Every single cash producing asset that the city has, man, there's nothing that he can say that he has done right now. There's still nothing for the kids to do. We can't get a damn roller rink, a laser tag ring, or nothing.
No, I mean that's hand in hand with it, and it seems to be what he promised. And I think what Dee was saying was that I think you all saying the exact same thing, that if we let these leaders continue to sit there as if they haven't been involved with this since the get-go,
Right.
then we're gonna have a big problem, because you speaking truth, brother. You're talking about not just those backroom deals, but when you talk about this water, there was a lot more that went on with the water that put us in that. So I think you're talking what we need to hear is the actors that made. You remember that calls coming from in the house? You talking about a lot of calls that came from within the house.
Yes, sir. And then, you know, that leaders versus handlers. That leaders versus handlers. Man, it's abundantly clear. You put 12 blind men in the box, and they're all see the General Horn got a handler. I mean, man, come on, man, make it make sense. He being a handler, and in turn, the people, we taking everything with no Vaseline. We getting handled.
Yep. That's the bottom line, brother.
Look at it, man. And for me, you know, when you look at it as a whole, there's this 30 plus years of being across the street. I mean, man, what value is that bringing for the people? When I say the people, I'm not talking about the white people. I'm not talking about the Indian folks, and I'm not talking about specifically the black folks on the west side of Big Island. I'm talking about your black Jacksonian, man. Like, if this really chocolate city, how in the hell is our demand not first, man?
And I know there's a lot, but if you outside of Jackson, Mississippi, I hope you're listening carefully, because this brother just unloaded every single issue he's feeling. But I hope you understand the way this is being linked through. And I'm one that on my platform, I'm always going to make sure you clearly understand what someone's saying. When you hear folks within Mississippi saying, I'm asking for benefits that don't just help white folk here, don't just help the Indian population here, but help all of us here, right? Asking for everybody. You have to understand, you got to go to Michael Watson, the Secretary of State's website, and you got to put all these businesses in. When he says hotels west of 55, you got to put all those hotels in, and you got to see who owns them. And then all of a sudden, that's not going to sound like any type of racial talk. It's going to sound like something that's realistic. Oh, he doesn't mean anything offensively. He literally means that nothing but Indian organizations own everything that controls where black folk move through. That's just the reality. You go ahead and take us home, brother. We got one more behind you, but what do you want to leave us with?
Man, I'll say, man, you know, again, man, y'all doing an outstanding job, man. And I ain't gonna take up the rest of the time, but man, I will say, man, we as a people, man, we gotta understand when that brother said, "I am a revolutionary," man, that really means something.
That's right.
That's what it's gonna take for the city to change, man.
A revolutionary approach, and that's something that if we don't have, we ain't never gonna have, dear brother. We appreciate you, my brother. Yeah. Hey, what'd you say? The spirit of the buffalo.
That's all it is, man. We all gotta get somewhere, man. Absolutely.
Hey, we appreciate you, my brother. And the reason I double that is that's the call I tried to catch him, because I wanted to intercede, but that's the brother that first said the spirit of the buffalo, right? And we appreciate you, brother. You know, we haven't heard from you in a while, but we appreciate you. But that, and then call back if we lost you on the other line. We're headed towards our second half, where we're in our second half. So this is open call time. But just unpack, what do you think about what he said? I mean, he talked about a lot there.
Yeah.
He went over the whole map of Jackson.
What he want? When he mentioned that he should be beneficial for every diverse in Jackson.
He's talking about that. I mean, he's talking about the leadership of the current administration and how the benefits are not applying to everybody in Jackson. And this is somebody, I don't think that a person of Indian descent would have a problem with this conversation. A good person, and I've made plenty of good people of all descent. I personally have traveled enough. So I don't think anybody would argue with the fact that these are the folks that are benefiting and we're not. So he's stating a fact, something that's as hard as cement. We're not going to sit up here and do any back and forth about that, right? We look at who owns the stores. It's either Gabriel Prado's family or it's the Indian Store Owners Association. That's who owns the majority of our stores. As Mr. Surinder Singh brags, at one time, we owned over 90% of the convenience stores and gas stations in your city. Don't get all sensitive now when we repeat the information to you so you can understand who owns all of the things in your city. That's when you get, oh, I don't want to make people uncomfortable. You're so happy being the uncomfortable one because it's such a familiar position.
Yep.
But you don't understand that's not the position your ancestors held. You're in a watered down, weak, new age position that these leaders right now have taught you. Just be quiet and soak up what you can.
And they playing on that fact. The fact that you're not used to nothing, they playing on it because they whole spiel every time to come out there in front and quell the uprising for a start. That's all they doing. I really can't do nothing for you. Don't look for nothing. Expect crumbs and you might get one. You see what I'm saying? You might get one. Just expect crumbs and you might get one.
You might get one.
The whole thing is to manage your expectations of what their job is, and we gotta stop falling for that.
That's right.
And make these folks work for us because they do.
That's right. That's right. They're already there. You're already in a position. We're not begging you to do something.
In order for them to give everybody equal benefits, right? They would have to pull from who they give them to the most, right? So once they get it, the person they give them to the most, once they get less, if they have to pull from, you get what I'm saying?
Well, yeah. So if they try to give all of their people equal benefits, then one of two things will happen. Either they have to share that plate that they just sat down at that table and got, which they often realize is not enough.
Split up.
Yeah, it's already split up before they got there. They're getting a small slice anyway. So when these politicians say to you, well, they're taking away our voting rights, they are. That's why it's so disgusting what you're doing. Everything you say on the front end is true. What the white supremacist mindset in Mississippi that still exists, especially in the far-right GOP, what they're attempting to do. This is the sad part about people. Believe them about what they're saying they're trying to do. But what they're telling you the resolution is not really a resolution.
What they're going to do about it is non-existent.
It's non-existent.
It's
smoke and mirrors.
It's what they call controlled opposition.
Controlled opposition. I tell you what to be worried about, and I tell you the only way we can fight it. And you trust that because it's never gotten worse. Do you understand how dangerous that is? Mississippi, we've only done a 180. We're only at Reconstruction right now, right? Right after Reconstruction, you had some black plantation owners. Some of their ancestors running around here creating havoc right now in blackface. Go Google how many black plantation owners you had. It was very few, but
who we getting resources from?
From their handlers. It always goes back to the handlers. The ones that are running around with the extra resources right now are running around with extra resources because they're handlers. You should have the worst job in the world if you're a politician right now, the way they're attacking voting rights and our rights here in Mississippi. You should be tired and beat down, but we as radio show hosts are tired and beat down. We get threatened. We got to watch when we walk out. Well, you be looking for it, but we got to watch when we walk out of here. You know, some of us anxious about it, some of us looking forward to the possible collisions. But they're just eating good. They had Stamps. Hey, Stamps burgers are the best. How many of our bought? They can go anywhere they want to go. They got to worry about you saying anything to them. What you do with that $45,000 you got paid for this job? Hey, stop asking so many questions. Don't you see that KKK man hiding behind there? He's waiting. If you don't let us, you better shut up and go vote. Well, why weren't you able to do this? Because you didn't vote? Hold on a second.
Y'all got the same plan. They got the same plan.
They get together and talk about it.
They just splitting the pie for different reasons.
And so, how do you stop them?
I was going to say, stop getting them my money.
How do you stop them? You got to, first off, you have to remember the crime scene, folks. This is why you keep getting assaulted. We keep getting assaulted. I don't know, no high position. My boy, we going through the same thing. This is why we keep getting assaulted. Because we forget the crime scene. That's the most important part. Stay the course. Braveheart. That whole part when they were holding them spears. I don't like the actor, but I like that part when they were holding the spears. The patience it teaches you. You got to hold sometimes. And right now, we've got to remember what happened so that it doesn't repeat itself. So we've got to remember that we were right at this point. The Reagan-appointed Judge Wingate, Judge Henry T. Wingate, roommates with Clarence Thomas, weren't they?
Yep.
Right? So you got to put this fabric. This is fabric. Understand who you're dealing with and maybe who you should watch. He appoints Ted Henson. So to the caller's point, to our producer's point, and to all of you all's point, the power's been given. There is no requirement, if you go look at the stipulated order, for him to answer but so much to the city council or to the mayor. Your previous mayor was fighting overtime, unpaid time, because he was fighting for something that the man had no right to give him. He didn't have to answer to him.
Election time.
So that's why that's why you see it happen like that. So when you saw the previous mayor Lumumba doing a press conference saying, I don't like the way Ted Hennepin is not being transparent with the city, all the stuff we're crying about now as a city, that was overtime. Hennepin could dismiss him, and what happened? He did. But you were being made more and more aware. So he had to go more and more.
Yep.
But then you saw the lawsuit get put up. And that's when he called all the black organizations that came together racist for saying Hennepin needs to be more transparent. And we don't see any black people being included in this whole thing. And we don't see, and you all are racist.
You just don't want a white man over your water.
You just don't want a white man over your water. That's absolutely what not Hennepin, excuse me, what Wingate said. So often the problem is in front of us, right?
How dare you wonder what's going into your body after being poisoned for years?
And this is the thing. Let me speak on this.
That's crazy, man.
There's people that are friendly with this man. Let me talk to you, community, because we're a community, no matter where we are, fighting against this same monster of enslavement and coming from the same ancestors, right? There's people that are his age. I watch, joke with him, kiki with him, and don't realize the damage that he's holding the door open to. Like, I actually have had a conversation with elders in our society, in our community in Jackson, Mississippi. I'm like, well, he's just that way. Oh, man, I hate to see what would happen if someone was doing something to your wife. And I mean that as a married man. Having their way with your wife, but he just likes to rope on women.
He's just that way.
Golly.
Open that door.
This is what some of our elders are doing. And I'm not saying that you're going along with it, but you just sitting by. There's no attack. You're not using any information you know about him to try to slow it down. You're just letting the city's resources be taken over with no resistance. And you got 20-something-year-olds sitting there trying to fight as much as they can to save something. Unacceptable. Welcome to Make It Make Sense, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, I would just like to say that, like what you're saying, but as a standpoint, we are taught to be forgiving, even in our churches. Turn the other cheek.
Absolutely.
This is what's going on with what we're trying to do. We don't keep history enough on ourselves to know what's been done.
That's right.
We study about Columbus and when he discovered America and all the things that they've done. But if you start keeping history on our program, and keep it to our children, just like the children of Israel was taught. Man, tell your children what they've gone through. Don't let a generation come and they don't know nothing about what we went through, how we had to suffer to vote, how they lynched people and beat. Look, that's our history. But
That's right.
Our history aside, they want us to be forgiven and what they're doing, and then they keep doing it. They can repeat the same thing. As long as that brainwashes us when it comes to our history, we keep that history alive.
Let me ask you this, my brother. Stay on that point for a second. You're 100% correct, and this is what we know about white supremacists. So I want to keep saying that out loud in case anyone questions whether we understand that the overlying problem is white supremacy, right? Tariq Abdul-Twab saying that, so let all that come. But let me ask you a question, my brother. I agree with you 1,000%. Please tell me when was the last time you heard one of our elected officials in the last 30 years say it either. So when we say they are keeping this history from our children, please tell me when was the last time you heard one of our elected officials give this history to our children. And I'll wait.
Our elected officials have sold us out, to be honest.
I would take that as a you haven't. Yes, sir.
By them not upbringing it, then what did Biden die for? But these people that gave their life in order to.
That's the question now.
They're not giving us anything. We had to take this.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
We have stand and we come 2026, and we're not having the ones that in position to talk position. Even our preachers was not talking.
Yep.
There were people that stood up. That black churches was the full power of the gospel, and then they full power of what they were going to do. Now we have for doctors, we have for teachers, we principals, we have attorneys, and none of them doing nothing except spending their part. And forget how they got over.
Yes, my brother.
Yep. He right.
I appreciate you, brother. I agree with you 100%. Thank you for listening. We're going to break that down, but yes, sir. Thank you for your insight.
Martin was a man.
Malcolm
was a man.
Malcolm was
Medgar was a man.
Medgar was a man.
These people
Bernie
that we
was a
got
man.
now,
You.
that's not what they are. They ain't built like that.
Yeah, and to this brother's point, and yes,
They cowards.
this is what, yes, sir, brother. I'm speaking. See, I love when our elders step up and give us the information intelligently, professionally. And nothing you can pick apart about that, brother. And salute to you, my brother, because these are the type of elders I learned from. Not elders that agreed with me, elders that laid the way with clear evidence that this is not what we bled for. The leader that we have right now, 99% of them are not what we bled for and not what our ancestors sacrificed for, and should not be in the positions that they're even in right now. They should be removed and replaced if they don't have the courage that their forefathers had to stand up for something. Instead, they're just falling for anything. And I think that more folks have to continue to key in on this, and we got to start to make moves against these folks. They're doing it right here in front of everybody. So I'm with the brother 100%. I think that the answer to what you're going to do, we're going to post. There's a meeting tomorrow, so we're at the last point. Let me post this, KP. No, that's tomorrow. That's tomorrow. No, the city council meeting's tonight. We're going to talk about that in 2 minutes as we wind down here. But I just posted about the meeting that's happening tomorrow, because we're at the last step with the water rate hike. So they're meeting, and let me make sure it's big. It was crazy as I was trying to look at things from my eyes.
They didn't finance yet. I mean, not finance, but finalize yet.
Well, no, they're happy to finalize it, but remember, and have our caller hold. He's going to come right in. At one moment, caller. But remember, the only group, the People's Advocacy Institute and the people, Mississippi's Poor People campaigns, became interveners in that federal safe drinking water case. Okay, so we're going to talk about that in one moment.
Welcome to Make Sense Call. You on here?
Okay, yeah, thank you for listening.
Yes, sir. Thank you for calling. What's your thoughts?
Hey, yeah, you talk some real good stuff, but if we get some of these samples out of place, we're gonna always get what the condition we in now. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that, and I appreciate that. We'll break that down, but I agree with you.
I thought you know you preached.
No, I knew. I was just going to finish what I was saying. Let's take this next one.
Welcome to Make Sense Call. You on here?
Yes, I'm sorry because a lot of the problems that the blacks are having in Jackson, it's real easy to look around their neighborhood to see that there's an Indian gas station or a foreign gas station on every corner. My solution to that would be just don't spend your money in their stores because they don't smile with us and they don't do anything for us. And I really like this show today.
Thank you so much, my sister, and I agree with you 100%. And I'll say this, and that's a partial resolution. We've got to understand, because I'm going to be as real as the table. We've got folks in our community. I've got people in my they can't make it to another store. So to that sister's point, if you can spend that extra gas money, you can't voluntarily spend your money with people that disrespect you. We've got to talk about the fact that some of our folks are involuntarily spending their money because they've shut down Food Depot now. So even if you could walk there, you can't get there. So now some folks, if they want to give their children something to eat, or if they want to get a couple, if they want to get, can't even get coffee, if they want to get anything, they have to go to some of these stores dominated by the Indian business community.
We have to offer an alternative as well.
That's right.
We have to, as a community, get together. If that's what's necessary to crowd fund an alternative, we have to.
That's right.
Because they don't have to respect us if they're the only game in town. They don't have to.
No. And listen,
we can't expect them to.
Yeah, we can do it. They can't be these different sides of America that keep existing. Got a white, there's a AK. We can't keep having sides of our society that can walk into a black woman's store and do a pop-up shop, right? And then all of a sudden they blow all of their sales out. Beautiful. But we could do these same type of moves for our community, bringing in some of these services that we're being provided by people that dislike us.
That's right.
At best.
That's right.
We could do pop-up convenience stores where we get some of these things to our people ourselves. And sometimes just pushing back against that wave gives your children something to live for. Because right now, a lot of them are dying for way less than the efforts we're talking about.
It's coming, though, Jackson. It's coming.
We just have to remember and stop allowing folks to continue to do what they're doing. We got to stop being ashamed to stand for people that stand for us. This is the second time around, and folks are laughing. The first time around, Wingate actually called us racist when the People's Advocacy Institute and the Mississippi Poor People Campaign intervened and said, we think that there's no transparency. There's nothing but white folk working to this, and this is a city 85% black. We need to stand up based on the history of Mississippi and say something's about to go wrong. That was a year ago, if not more. Well, Jackson, I think we can all agree something is going wrong. Since then, we've lost the water system. We've got an increase, and we've got a water authority coming in to gouge us simply by the laws that they're putting in the rural communities to stop gouging and
Yep.
make us scared of that alone.
Yep.
So there's the interim stipulated order is the court order that created the current system of outside control over Jackson's water. So there's a meeting tomorrow, March 25th. They'll be in court actually from 9:30 to 12:30 at the U.S. Clerk of Court, 501 East Court Street, Jackson, Mississippi, 39201. So you're not going to be able to say no one tried to file. This is the second time around, Jackson. If you have a lunch break, if you're not doing anything, this is the second time around. Folks that have been giving out water, fighting for freedom, going and doing street intervention. You talk about strong arms in Mississippi being involved. You talk about all these groups that have been holding it down for the city. Then got a lawsuit saying that the people of Jackson are being played again. Last time, Judge Wingate called them racist. Last time, the public, the city council all sat quietly by.
Stand up, Jackson.
Now, this time, you get a chance to show up at this court and see whether or not you agree with what they're saying or you agree with what Judge Wingate and Ted Hennepin are doing. There's only two sides now.
Stand up, Jackson.
You ain't gonna be able to cry about this in a month later after it's all gone and be like, ain't nobody stood up, there wasn't no lawsuits. No. You listen to the flow every time you turn on your radio. Folks have moved on. The small amount that are about to come up off of Jackson and his benefits are getting ready, poised, smiling, with bellies fat as turkey Thanksgiving dinners. So you know what it is now. Tomorrow, 9:30 to 12:30, U.S. Clerk of Court, 501 East Court Street, Jackson, Mississippi. This is what the groups are asking for on your behalf. Your decision whether you care about this. A clear timeline and mandate to return the water system to public control. We cannot depend on Mayor Horn and this administration to do our water anymore. We cannot depend on Joe Gibbs, Crude Up, Mayor Horn, or any seven of them who sat there and said, this water authority is good. I abstain. I want some things changed. That's over. Tomorrow in court, we're asking for a clear timeline to give it back to the city. We're asking for real community oversight and participation and regular, transparent, and accessible public reporting. We don't want any more of this next door reporting every time you got a boil water alert. We got to find some way to set up a next door account because we ain't got one and figure out what's going on with our water in Jackson, even though there are no records that show the majority of Jacksonians use next door. But I bet you I know what the majority of every city use: Facebook, Instagram, the regular things. So this is what they're demanding in court tomorrow. And they expect to see 3 people in there last time, just like they did before. Because Judge Wingate effectively made you all think it was a bunch of racists. And you had old people from our community keying with him outside the courtroom. Oh, that's just how Judge Wingate is. You know, he always been like that. Oh, Henry got on his track shoe and the sneakers. You know, he just do that. While he take all your water away and leave you like a third world country. And you went to school with him, so it's okay. You got to be kidding me. If somebody doesn't call y'all out, then your children will suffer. Hell, I'll suffer, but at least I'm going to say it.
When you get that $10,000 water bill, don't cry then. It's going to be too late.
No, and we're going to make sure we record this. Show up tomorrow, Jackson. Come down to the courthouse, 9:30 to 12:30. That's a huge gap where you can show your face. You may only have from 12 to 12:30 for your lunch break. You only maybe have from 9 to 9:30 before you go into work. You may only have from 10 to 10:15 when you got a quick lunch break across the street at City Hall. If you don't show up and listen to what they're trying to do with you and listen to them tell, no, I don't want to give them these type of opportunities. No, I'm not going to show them anything. You've got to see them and then see what your elected leaders show up there and do.
Yeah, watch them cows.
Yeah, Emperor's clothes off now.
Watch them cows.
Yeah, show up there and see them hide in the back with their
don't
nice
do.
suits on. See what they don't do. Tomorrow, 9:30 to 12:30. And we're going to be there to talk. We're going to be there, and we'll be here to talk to you about it afterwards. And keep your ears open. Like my brother said, when these brothers and these sisters come out here trying to lead you with the coonery, keep your ears open and compare them to the leaders of the past. Don't let them keep doing this. I was black yesterday, I'm black today, and God willing, if the creek don't rise, I'll be black tomorrow. Vote for me. I ain't got to do nothing for you because I'm black. Remember that. There's a boogeyman behind you. If you don't vote for me, it's going to be what? It's going to be what? It's going to be what it is now? Water system, gone. Airport, gone. They're building up everything around it. Schools, 17 shut down. Police, we ain't got a police force no more. We got 2 separate cities. They're building up Fondren to North Jackson to New Midtown, and everything is gone from us. And they're telling you better vote for them or something's going to go wrong. Let me tell you something, Jackson. As we close this show out, it's already going wrong. Make it make sense. Join us tomorrow. 9:30 we'll be at the courthouse. 12:30 we're leaving. At any point you can show up, and we're going to talk about it. So if you don't show up and you're okay with Judge Wingate saying you're racist for wanting some answers, if you're okay with him being Clarence Thomas's roommate and Clarence is probably giving them little hints, hey, when you're in Jackson, just tell them black people that they need to stop and pull themselves up by their bootstraps. That's how we do it here. That's the buddy rumors and the buddy advice he getting from old Clarence. And old John Horn sitting up there as the third horseman. Plantation Democrats. At least Clarence can say he's a proud Republican. These plantation Democrats are running your whole city up the ring. They prostituting Jackson and they getting paid so little for it, it's disgusting. At least make some money off of it, Jackson. We're going to see you same time, same place tomorrow. For my co-host and myself, slow it down, Tariq Abdul Tawab. Make it make sense, Jackson. We love it.
We out.
End it.
I got it.
All right.
My mama lied.